long, long ago in the misty green highlands of Scotland, where mountains touched the clouds and castles stood proud against the wind. There lived a brave young princess named Merida. She was the daughter of King Fergus and Queen Eleanor of Clan Dunbroch. But Merida was not like other princesses you hear about in stories. She didn't dream of shiny crowns, fancy dresses, or royal balls. Merida dreamed of freedom. She loved riding her horse across open hills, racing through forests, and feeling the wind rush through her wild red hair. On her 6th birthday, King Fergus gave Merida a special gift, a beautifully carved bow and arrow. Her eyes sparkled with joy as she held it for the first time. She pulled the string back and fired her first arrow straight into the target. She laughed with excitement. But Queen Eleanor wasn't happy. She believed a princess should learn manners, music, and how to be graceful, not how to shoot arrows like a warrior. Later that same day, while walking through the forest with her family, Merida noticed strange glowing lights floating between the trees. They were tiny and blue like magical fireflies. These were will-o'-the-wisps, ancient spirits that appeared only to guide people toward their fate. Curious, Merida followed them deeper into the forest. Suddenly, the ground began to shake. A terrifying roar echoed through the trees. Out of the shadows came a huge black bear with glowing green eyes. It was Mor'du, the demon bear. Mor'du attacked the family without warning. King Fergus fought bravely, and his men rushed to help. They managed to drive the beast away, but not before tragedy struck. King Fergus lost his leg in the battle. From that day on, Mor'du became a legend of fear. And the forest was no longer a place of wonder, it was a place of danger. 10 years passed. Merida grew into a strong, fearless young woman. She could ride her horse Angus faster than anyone, climb cliffs like a mountain goat, and shoot arrows better than the finest warriors in the land. She felt most alive when she was outdoors, racing across the hills with her bow on her back and the wind in her hair. But Queen Eleanor had different plans for her daughter. One evening, Eleanor sat Merida down and said, "It is time for you to be betrothed." Merida froze. Betrothed? You mean married? Yes, Eleanor said calmly, for the good of the kingdom. 3 powerful clans had allied with Dunbroch, and their firstborn sons would compete for Merida's hand in marriage. Tradition demanded she choose one of them. Merida felt her heart sink. I don't even know them. I won't be forced into this. Eleanor tried to explain about duty and responsibility. She even told Merida a legend about a proud prince who refused to follow his father's wishes and destroyed his kingdom. But Merida only heard one thing: she was losing her freedom. "I'll never be like you," Merida shouted. "I don't want my life planned for me." The day of the Highland Games arrived. The castle filled with shouting clans, proud chieftains, and eager young warriors. Each clan's firstborn son stepped forward to compete for Merida's hand. They wrestled through logs and showed off their strength. Then, to everyone's shock, Merida stepped forward with her bow. "I am the firstborn of Clan Dunbroch," she said, "and I will compete for my own hand." The crowd gasped. One by one, Merida beat every suitor. Her arrows flew perfectly, splitting targets in half. She won the competition easily, but Queen Eleanor was furious. That night they argued harder than ever before. In anger, Merida tore the family tapestry symbol of their bond and ran away into the forest. Through her tears, Merida once again saw the glowing wisps. She followed them to a crooked little hut hidden deep in the woods. Inside lived an old witch. Desperate, Merida begged for a spell to change her mother. The witch gave her an enchanted cake. "Have her eat this," she said with a strange smile. Merida returned to the castle and offered the cake to Eleanor. Eleanor took one bite, and suddenly she transformed not into a kinder mother, not into a gentler queen, but into a bear. Eleanor collapsed as fur burst from her skin. She roared in fear, but she could not speak. Merida screamed in shock. They fled into the forest, hiding from the guards. Eleanor was still herself inside, still Merida's mother, but trapped in the body of a wild animal. Merida ran back to the witch's hut and found a warning carved into the wall: "Mend the bond, torn by pride, or the spell will be permanent." By the second sunrise, Eleanor would be a bear forever. While hiding in the forest, they met Mor'du again and barely escaped. That's when Merida realized the truth. Mor'du was the prince from the legend. He had refused his father's wishes, destroyed his family, and become a monster. Merida looked at her mother and whispered, "I won't let that happen to you." She knew what she had to do. She had to fix the tapestry, the bond she had broken. They returned to the castle and found the clans ready for war. Merida stood before them and spoke from her heart. "I won't choose a husband today, and neither should any of us. Let the firstborns marry in their own time, to whom they choose." The clans were shocked. Then, slowly, they agreed. Tradition was broken, but unity was saved. But Eleanor began losing her humanity. She growled and ran. Fergus thought she was Mor'du and hunted her. Merida escaped with help from her triplet brothers, who had turned into bear cubs after eating the enchanted cake too. She repaired the tapestry just as Mor'du attacked again. Eleanor protected Merida. Mor'du was crushed by falling stones, and his spirit was freed as the second sunrise came. Merida wrapped the tapestry around her mother. Nothing happened. Merida cried, "I just want you back. I'm sorry." That was the true magic. Love. Eleanor turned back into a human. The curse was broken. From that day on, Merida and Eleanor understood each other. They rode together across the highlands, free and united, and so a new legend was born, of a brave girl who chose love over fear and freedom with responsibility.